living free. Robert Ferguson's got the plan you need. With diet-free life, it's the key. No more starving, getting rid of inflammation. Choosing healthy choices, providing you with sound information. Bringing balance to hormones and insulin through food. With DFL, teaching you food choices to see you through. DFL, we're teaching you to eat food right. Teaching you to pair food with each bite. Balancing our body's microbiome, feeling so right. With diet-free life, the health futures lose pride.
Hello, everybody. This is Diet Free Life with Robert Ferguson, yours truly. And I'm thankful and grateful that you are able to catch me on the live or the replay. Now, if you're new to the YouTube channel, I want to encourage you to like, subscribe, and comment, like, share. Help me get the word out. Now, today, like most days, I do want to invite you to learn more about me. You can schedule a free consultation. You can email me any additional questions that you may have. But today's been a very interesting day. And November was a very interesting month. And when we hear people say interesting, like, what does that really mean? Well, I guess for me, when I say interesting, meaning it was not a waste of time. And certain things I learned or thought about that I wouldn't normally think about. And so this morning, there's 3 things that I want to share with you in this video that I believe could be helpful to you and people that you love and care about, right? Beginning with you. So in beginning with you, in anything that I talk about, again, you can reach out to me. There are links provided. But all these 3 things I want to talk about are all woven around cardiovascular disease. Now, my preface would be, most people have no interest in cardiovascular disease because it's not happening to you. And if you are interested in it, you're probably already on statins, or you have a cardio doctor, cardiologist that you believe in, so you feel like you got it handled. So what could Robert be talking about that would be of interest to me? Well, the first thing I want to share with you is I had this conversation with a woman about a year ago. And a year ago, I had reached out to this business person in our community, and I said, hey, let's meet. I've come across something that I think you would appreciate and find interesting, and you know a lot of people. So I want to meet you and share face-to-face. Now, keep in mind, in my community, I've done a lot of really cool, amazing, respectable things. So a lot of business people that have been around for a while automatically assume that they're not wasting their time when they meet me. So there's a level of respect that's already established. And let's say it's going both ways. So I meet with this lady, and she's a business person. And, you know, if you meet with me and we're talking about a variety of things, we're going to eventually talk about health, because that's what I've been doing for over 30 years. And I'll never forget, as she was sharing with me her situation with her health, the meds she was taking, the supplements she was taking, the obvious inflammation I could see all over her body. She was a walking time bomb in my opinion. And when I say time bomb, I'm meaning all the signs were there. Very high risk for stroke or heart attack. 100%. Now, when you aren't experiencing a stroke and you're not experiencing a heart attack, those are just words, because that's something that happens to everybody else. Okay, many of you are catching me, whether it's live or the replay, and you're not even concerned with it. Some of you are in your 40s and 50s, 60s. You're like, yeah, not something I'm interested in, right? You would be more interested in if I could show you how to lose 5 pounds in 5 days. And I get that. I get it. But I'm having this conversation with this woman, and I bring up inflammation and how inflammation is the number one driver, the number one predictor on whether or not you're going to have a stroke or a heart attack. And I share with her that I have this test that she could take. Matter of fact, I have one with me. I have my briefcase. I pulled it out. I showed it to her. It's a little test. Everybody can get it done at their home. You can do it in the privacy of your home, at work. Everybody can get it done. It's called a dried blood spot test. And I was explaining it to her. She's like, wow, interesting. And I said, you know what? If you promise me that you'll do the test, I'm going to give it to you for free. Now, this test costs me money. So that's like, let's say out of my pocket, if I spent $75 wholesale and I give her the test, that you can retail it for $178. That's like me giving her $75. Okay. So I could sell it for $75. Here's $75. She never took the test. She never took the test. And I followed up and I asked her, I said, hey, and I actually got a little upset. I said, hey, this is very disappointing. You said you would do the test. You gave me your word you would do the test. So I'm not trying to sell her anything. I'm sharing like I am right now. She never did the test. Now, what would the test tell her? It would give you insight into your inflammation levels in your body, which can be a huge predictor on stroke or heart attack. And not only will it tell you where you are, which most people are going to be inflamed, it gives you the roadmap on what you can do to calm that inflammation. So if you have high levels of inflammation and you end up having a heart attack and you knew you had high levels of inflammation, then that was your choice to either calm the inflammation, right? Reduce it, bring it down, or just kind of just keep living and hope you're not one of the people that has a stroke or a heart attack. She didn't even do the test, you guys. She didn't do the test. And I even mentioned, I said, hey, if you can find the test, can you just mail it back to me? And I did this with this older gentleman that lives in Ventura also, who's had some heart issues. And in his mind, let me talk to my cardiologist. Again, there's so many ignorant people. He's so uninformed. He's so like blinded from the truth. I gave him 2 tests for him and his wife. And his ignorance and proud and ego got in the way. And I was like, just return the damn test. We live in a world, everybody, where you can't help everybody because they are like sheep. And especially those of you over the age of 70, okay, and maybe some under 70, but most of you over the age of 70, you're so blinded and so like lost. Not all of you, but a hell of a lot of you. And you think your doctor has the answers. And here's the reality. Many of your doctors are my clients. Why? Because they don't know what I'm trying to help you know. But you're waiting on them to help your ass out. Now, I don't know where the status is of this man who used to be my client with nutrition, who is ignorant, extremely ignorant. And that's not being mean. I didn't mention his name, but he's obstinate. He's stiff-necked and just fooled himself with all his intelligence, just ignorant. And God forbid something happens to him, which is inevitable. Something's going to happen to all of us. But with the lady that I mentioned in the beginning, She just had a heart attack. Did you guys hear that? Yep. Had a heart attack. And I predicted it. She's not the first one. I have predicted, and unfortunately, many of them are not here anymore because they didn't survive. Blood clots, heart attack, kidney failure, type 2 diabetes, all cause of mortality. Can't talk to the ones that are gone. Now, I know we all got to go. We're all going to go. But why not be wise about it? But again, you got a lot of stiff-necked people that are just unbelievably don't want to hear the truth. And maybe some of them just don't even want to be here. So they really don't care. But some of you have kids. You would think that a lot of people would actually want to know so they could share that information with their own kids. Because in the words of Governor Tommy Thompson, kids born today will not live to the age of their parents. Now, that was a generation ago, and it's proven to be true. There's so much I could talk about. And I want to talk about a lot of different things, but I'm going to stay focused. Now, some of you want to get the word out and you want to help people. And I get that. So before I go to number 2, let me share with you people who want to help and share things like this with other people. Because you can see it, like people can share. Like if you have a Facebook group, for instance, let's say you have 300 friends on Facebook. And let's say you're on YouTube and you catch me live. Hey, who's this guy? Well, it makes sense. Hey, I'm going to share this with people. Well, if you share it, you automatically are in the top 3% of people who actually give a shit. Most people watch things, learn things, get inspired, but don't share it with other people. I don't know why you guys don't hit the button and say, man, more people need to know about inflammation. More people need to know about what Robert's talking about today. You ask me, or can I ask you, why is it that if what I'm saying makes sense, you don't hit the button that says share and then put it on your Facebook page? Hey, I found this interesting. I'm sharing it, and be done. I don't know why people don't share. I always share because I actually care, and my actions support it. And it's the click of a button. If you have 300, 500 friends, they all won't see it, but some of them will. And what if that is enough to get them to go, I need to look into this inflammation thing? So some of us are exactly what we complain about, right? So my friend, who I call a friend, who I've coached, who has cardiologists, who thinks he knows everything about this because he trusts these people that are uninformed. They are just following routine, regurgitating, rinse and repeat what they've been doing. They're not aware of what I'm sharing. Okay. I'll pause there and we'll transition. Any questions for me? Okay. Okay. All right. Now, let it be known, and thank you, Lynn, for your kind words. You said you can feel my frustration. It's not really even frustration. When you've done something for 30 years and you've watched people no longer be here because they chose not to listen or take advantage of the information that was being shared, it's not that I'm numb. It just is what it is. Same as the woman who had a heart attack. She's the one who has to sit in that hospital. She's the one that got to go to bed at night thinking about the calendar and how many more years or days she believes she has. She's the one who has to live with a lack of quality now, and even more concerns and probably more drugs, because she got to the point where the window closed, meaning you get to a place where you can't reverse your situation. And we don't hear enough people talk about this because they're too far gone. Okay, so let's change it up. Let's change it up. Let's change it up. Okay. All right, so number 2, remember I got 3 things I wanted to share. That was number 1. And I guess to take home with number 1 before I go to number 2 is that we have a test, you guys. And a test that you can't get from your doctor. And again, you 70-plus-year-olds that think you can go to your doctor, please wake up. And if I needed to point out one thing that could help you wake up, it would be the second thing I want to talk about, because it ties into heart disease, heart attacks, sudden heart attacks. And that is what the FDA is just now coming out with. And they're sharing clearly that young folks who got the COVID vaccine died. I mean, can I say that? I mean, I don't want to violate anything, but that's what the FDA, I mean, the report's there. So YouTube, please don't give me a hard time. I'm just saying that the results and the data is coming out now. Myocarditis is real. And a lot of kids should have never got the vaccine. And I'll never forget, because that was the first time my eldest daughter, who's now 18, and I ever had a pushback where she was ready to argue with me, debate with me, and fight with me, because she was going to high school. And she was like, she had a boyfriend that went to school. She's in love for the very first time. And she did not want to miss school. And at the time, our governor was saying it's going to be mandated. Kids cannot go to school without getting vaccinated. I mean, they were pushing it. And if you go back and remind yourself, you will remember it was pushed everywhere. And a whole bunch of you people were like giving people a hard time that wouldn't get the vaccination. And you're quiet now. You know who you are. You're quiet now, but you were like pointing the finger and judging everybody, and you got in line and you got it. Well, I didn't get it. And like I told my daughter, over my dead body, you are not getting vaccinated. Kids do not need it. It was very clear to me, as a guy who's a practicing clinical nutritionist, who works in the space of health, who has a lot of friends who are doctors, kids didn't need it. And I watched some parents go and get their kids in line and post pictures on Facebook. We got it. We got it. And some of those kids got it, and they're no longer here. So it makes you go like, well, who do you believe? Like, who do you believe? And even then, when you got the vaccine, it triggered this explosion of these things called cytokines, which is inflammation, chronic on a high level, which contributed toward myocarditis. And these poor kids are not even here anymore. And now the FDA is saying we're coming out with some low numbers, but as we dig deeper and deeper, the numbers are going to be pretty big. And I don't believe that it's over. Some people get boosters and are proud about it. They get in line, and I don't know how you get to that point where you just believe everything that is coming from the government. And the government has some good things to share, but you got to have some type of critical thinking, because it just wasn't making sense. Our immune system is our immune system. There are things you can do right now to build your immune system. Sunshine is one. If you're not getting enough sunshine, vitamin D, make sure you supplement with it. You need help picking or choosing a vitamin D? Find a reliable source like me, who's in the space, not part-time, but full-time. Inflammation, what's your levels like? One of my dear friends who has become a friend, I'm going to call him as soon as I'm done with this live and talk to him because he got his tests. And there's two numbers in your test that gives you the general inflammation marker, what we call omega-6 to omega-3 ratio. You want that first number to be 3 or lower, like 2.5, 2.7, 1.3. If it's 3.0, 3 or lower is good. So 3 to 1 is good. His number is 72 to 1. Now, I've had many clients around those numbers. The highest I've seen is 102 to 1. It's been reported to me people get 120 to 1. Here's the good news. You can bring that first number down. Yes. Which means reducing inflammation in the body, calming inflammation in the body, calming inflammation in a way that is going to help reduce the risk of heart attack, heart disease, stroke, blood clots, dementia, Alzheimer's. Remember, inflammation is real. Okay. Let me see. Are there any questions? Let me see. Let's see. Sean, vaccines for the vaccine. Amen. Yeah, you can't reach these people. And if you remember, for those of you who did this, if you brought it up, they would say, well, my doctor says, and my doctor. And again, I'm telling you, most of these people definitely are over 60. I think people in their 50s, like me, 40s, were like, I'm not sure. And then a lot of the younger people question everything. And I think that's going to even backfire even worse for them because they're lacking some critical thinking. Okay. So we talked about heart attack. Told my friend, I even republished an article that I wrote. You can go to my website, dietfreelife.com. You can type in the search button, heart attack, and the articles will pop up. I actually added a note to that article talking about this lady. Actually, I'm not even going to call her a friend because I gave her a free test. She never took it, didn't even give it back. Just total disrespect. And it's interesting because she has a friend that I would say is one of my other friends who had high blood pressure. I hope she catches this, who was crying in my face, all concerned. I gave her a test. The numbers came back not good. I showed her how to reduce the inflammation. We reduced the inflammation, and then she stopped using the product. I mean, I know people don't like it when I use the word stupid, but the jury is still out. I need a better word because I don't want to call people stupid, but some people are stupid. Because I could say ignorant, which literally means unaware. I like to use the word obstinate. That's for the ego people that are like stiff-necked, like the Bible talks about. They can't look left or right. They just made up their mind. They live with confirmation bias. Okay, let's move on to number 3, and then we'll be done. Dun, dun, dun! I hope I'm entertaining you guys, and I hope you're learning something. Number 3. Oh, man. Number 3 brings me to this place, or a term I heard years ago. I believe it was Dr. Christine Northrup. And I saw her on an infomercial or something, a TV program, and she was talking about the importance of passing up good for great, right? So not settling. But the take home is she was referring to prevention, like how you can prevent disease. She said, instead of focusing on preventing disease, let's shift the focus into creating health. Now, for me, when I first heard that, I was like, what? That resonated with me. See, you have people who will live life, and not all people, but they want to prevent disease. I'm going to do what is necessary to prevent disease. Like if I don't want lung cancer, you know what? I'm not going to hang out with people who smoke, and I'm not going to smoke cigarettes. Okay, that's preventative. And then you look at other things that people do. Like I don't want to have kidney disease, so I'm not going to drink too much alcohol. But you know what? I'm just going to stop drinking alcohol. That's preventative. Okay. But what's the difference between preventing disease and creating health? Well, when you create health, you're taking steps not to prevent a disease, but to create more quality, to create better thinking, to create healthy hearts. Like, what can I do to create and make it healthier? What can I do to create and make sure my lungs are working well? What can I do? What can I do in this feeling? There's a big difference, you guys, between creating health and preventing disease. My short answer is that preventing disease is reactive for the most part, right? You find out your blood sugar levels are high. Uh-oh, I got to do something about this. I'm going to watch my sugar. You're one to prevent the progression of the disease instead of creating health. If you're creating health, you'll never have to prevent, because you're eating to create health. I'm eating in a way to contribute back to my health. And that's one of the reasons why I love test-based nutrition, because preventative or awareness would be getting a test. Okay. And then the test is going to wake you up and say, hey, you're not as good as you think you are. Well, what can I do to make myself better? Eat this or do that. Then you take action and you're creating that health that's going to show up in the next test. And because we live in a world where we don't get enough omega-3s, and I know there's people right now, I was talking to a guy this morning with 40 years in the nutraceutical world. He talks about how he's been taking omega-3s and he's got an omega-3. And I said, you do know there's a test. Well, no, I'm taking a good one. I can tell. I know how I feel. I said, you do know there is a test. Instead of going by what you think is happening and how you believe you feel, and that you think that it's because of your omega-3s, why don't we do the test? Because you're not going to pass the test. Well, no, I'm taking a real. You can say that 1,000 more times. We're not going to know until you get the test. I think he got it by the time we were done. I think. We'll see. Because there's a big part of me, he won't get the test. Because then it will prove that what he's been taking has not been working. And most people, not all, let's say many, not most, many people would rather be right than to find out they were wrong. That's one of the reasons why my friend who's had cardiovascular conditions, who I would hope he would catch this, but his ego, he won't do it. It's the people you want to catch alive or to read an article, those are the ones that don't read it and don't catch it. And those are the ones you're trying to help. It seems like the ones who I reach and catch me more regularly are people who are already, they're into it, right? They're already living it. And when I'm brand new to them, they'll like go, yep, I like this guy. He's talking. I believe everything he's saying. I don't want to attract the people who are already in agreement with me. That's why I asked you guys to share. We got to pull in people who don't know any better and then help them. Okay. Anyway, and you know, Sandy, I'm glad you caught me live because I've talked about creating health a lot. And I think it just kind of goes over, or I don't slow down enough, pause enough, let it marinate so people can actually hear me on creating health, right? Because when I wake up in the morning, creating health is drinking water. It creates that I have a hydrated body. I take my balance oil in the morning every day because I know that most of us are not getting enough omega-3 fatty acids and we're not getting enough polyphenols. So I'm creating an opportunity for my body to not be in an insufficient mode and that I have an adequate amount. I'm creating health when I go exercise because I know that working those muscles, your skeletal muscles, is the #1 predictor of longevity. And many of you are probably hearing that for the first time. So I'm not exercising just because of how I want to look. I'm exercising because of how I want to feel and what quality of life I want. Like, I want quality of life. I want to be able to run over and grab a ball before it goes into the street. I want to breathe well, right? So I'm creating the things that I want. People who are preventative, they end up getting a problem, then they're trying to fix the problem. I don't want to be that person. I want to be ahead of it if I can, and I want to do the things that I know make sense. So I love the creating part. Create the life you want. You want more money? Create that life. Like, design what you want. Create the life that you want. Do the work and you'll get exactly what you want to create. Create it. You want to travel more in about 2, 3 years, 4 years? Create it. Don't go preventative because in 2, 3, 4 years, you're on dialysis, right? Then you can't travel. Those days are over. That window is shut. Okay, I'm done preaching. I preached way longer than I thought I was going to preach. Okay. Anyway, I want to thank you guys for catching me live. Please share. Make sure you like. Thank you for commenting. It does help. And you can hit a button, share, and you can put it on your Facebook and then give your little comments. Say, hey, if anybody got the time, this is my mentor. This is Robert Ferguson. He's a nutritionist. He makes some really good points. Or you could even share, go, I totally disagree with this guy. Creating health sounds stupid. Who would want to ever create health? I think we should just live life and wait on a problem to happen and then live. I don't know. I don't know. Oh, okay. Thank you guys. It's been a great moment. And my prayers go out to the lady that had the heart attack. My prayers go out to those people who are in need. My prayers go out with the goal and hope that people wake up and take charge. And last but not least, we can't help everybody. That's another topic for discussion, but we can't. And I'm sharing that because I saw Lynn. She has a heart of gold. She wants to help everybody. She wants to make a difference. And it can be challenging. You know, when I was coaching, 10, 20 people a day in my business of nutrition coaching, by the time the day came to an end, same as a therapist, I was exhausted. because almost every call you're trying to lift people back up. And then you got some people that get on the phone and you look forward to those people because they're on fire. They're already inspired. But you meet more negative Nancys and you're trying to bring them back and get them back and help them stay focused and stay the course. And they're like, my friends are eating this. I'm craving this. And they don't know. They've never been completely 100% successful. Maybe in some areas, but not in an area when you say, I'm going after a new lifestyle. I am going to create health. I'm going to get my weight to a certain place. Those people stay the course. They don't give up. They don't change programs. They stay the course. And even though they make money, that doesn't mean they're successful. You can have someone who's great in one area, but be extremely ignorant and not understanding anything when it comes to like nutrition and health. Trust me. I've coached billionaires, people with billions of dollars. And talking to them about nutrition is like talking to someone who is just extremely uninformed. And then some of them are so uninformed that they know a lot. Those are the worst. They know a lot about a lot of things, and you know that they don't get it because what they do never matches up or is not in alignment with what they know. So they may know what to do. They may recite to you what to do. They may be able to tell you studies that they're aware of that supports the knowing, but the doing part, they are far from it. And the gap between knowing and doing is like that. That's why not everybody's successful. And I'm not just talking about losing weight. It's here. They may be successful at making money because they know how to run a business, and maybe that's something that they relate to, and it's just who they are. They may be successful at keeping a house clean. They may be successful in a lot of things, but when it comes to nutrition and health and maximizing and staying the course, their success in business, success in whatever else they do in their life, success in being married for 30 plus years does not translate over. It doesn't. And prove me wrong if I'm wrong. All right. Roberto Lorenzo Ferguson has shared for today. I hope this was helpful. If you have any questions, please reach out. Until the next one, I got to go. Bye-bye for now.
In a world of times, there's a new way to see. No more counting calories, just living free. Robert Ferguson's got the plan you need. With diet-free life, it's the key. No more starving, getting rid of inflammation. Choosing healthy choices, providing you with sound information. Bringing balance to hormones and insulin through food. With DFL, teaching you food choices to see you through. DFL, we're teaching you to eat food right. Teaching you to pair food with each bite. Balancing our body's microbiome, feeling so right.